Can you walk? This question caught Amy by surprise. What? Can you walk? No, you asshole! You shot my fucking kneecap! I thought you were going to kill me! You're more valuable as a hostage. I might run into more resistance members and I might need a bargaining chip. Amy started. Does this mean he might actually give me back, she thought? Her hopeful thought was interrupted when the man wrenched Amy's hands behind her back and fastened her wrists together with scavenged twist ties. Ow! Easy, asshole! Sorry. That word raised Amy's eyebrows a couple of inches. Wow, that's the first human thing you've said so far. The man faced her so their eyes met. His red-rimmed, sunken, bloodshot green eyes pierced through her like a lance. I'm not human. Amy knelt there, mouth open in equal parts shock and horror. Shock at the admittance of being something other than human. Horror at the state of his eyes. Well, if you're not human, then what are you? The man got up and began to walk towards the girl sleeping at the end of the alleyway. Over his shoulder, he said, Does it really matter? Amy, always the quick wit, replied, Well, yeah, I need to know whether or not I should worry about you laying eggs in my chest or something. The man ignored this little quip and continued towards the sleeping girl. Something occurred to Amy just then. Hey, I know you just tortured me and all, and don't take this the wrong way, 'cause I still hate your guts, but, you got a name? Call me whatever you want. I don't care. All right, asshole it is, said Amy under her breath. What's your name? White. Amy White, demo expert. I'll do what I can and for your knee in a moment, White. I'm not carrying you around. Wouldn't have it any other way, asshole. Amy managed a smirk before the gravity of her situation sobered her up. Being upbeat and witty was her coping mechanism. It masked her sorrow and pain. Amy watched the man check the sleeping girl's vitals before he turned and walked back towards her. About time you got here, Doc. You see, I got this nasty pain in my knee. You know, the kind of pain you normally get from a bullet wound. Amy stressed the last two words in order to get her message across. The man walked up to her and kept on walking. He was at the mouth of the alley and was out of sight in a few moments. Hey! Get the fuck back here! You said you were going to treat my wound, asshole! Hey, asshole! Come back! Realizing that shouting wasn't going to get her anywhere, Amy slumped down and leaned her back against the alley wall. Her shoulders and wrists ached from the twist ties, and she had to pee. Amy rolled her head to one side and saw the girl sleeping in the back of the alley. I wonder why he saved you, she said to the girl. Was he protecting you before? Is he your bodyguard? Your boyfriend? Nah, can't be your boyfriend. He's too scary. Besides, you can't be compatible, what with him not being human and all. Where do you think he went? Do you think he was hungry? What if he eats humans? That would mean his interest in you is purely nutritional. I knew a cannibal once. His name was Sam, I think. Amy rambled on like that for 10 more minutes. It was at the 11-minute mark that the man came back, holding a first aid kit in one hand and a shopping bag in the other. Hey, the prodigal son returns. What you got in the goodie bag? Munchies? The man said nothing as he knelt in front of her and rolled up her pant leg, exposing the raw wound in her knee. Opening up the first aid kit, he took out some painkillers, tweezers, self-coagulating antibacterial foam, and gauze. He held a pain pill up between his thumb and forefinger and said, Stick out your tongue. Amy took this golden opportunity to blow a raspberry at her captor. The man waited patiently for her to finish, then placed the pain pill on Amy's now receptive tongue. Amy sighed as she swallowed. Good old oxycodone. One pill and all the world's problems just slip. Ow! Amy flinched as the man probed her knee with the tweezers, skillfully removing the bullet. Well, there's your problem, Amy quipped. After disposing of the bullet, the man filled the wound with antibacterial foam and then taped gauze over it. Hey, you're pretty good at this. Ever thought of being a doctor or a field medic? Nah, nobody would take you seriously. You look too young. How old are you anyway? In Earth years, I mean, not alien years. The man looked at her and replied, 16. Amy's jaw dropped. This 6-foot guy, who she thought was a man, was actually a boy. A young one at that. Please tell me you're kidding. I'm not lying. But does my age really matter? Amy scoffed. Of course it matters. You're too young to have any real combat experience. You fight like a pro. That takes years of training to get to that level. The boy said one word in reply that sent waves of dread through Amy's body. Implant. Amy looked at him in shock for a few moments, unable to speak. Oh my God, she said quietly. You're a drone! Yes, that is correct. Amy knew what methods the Earth government used to break their soldiers, and she instantly forgot her hatred, replacing it with nothing but pity for this 16-year-old boy whose whole life was filled with torture. Amy looked sympathetically at the boy and said softly, You poor kid. That is correct. I have no possessions or money. But how is that pertinent to me being a drone? Amy laughed at the boy's ignorance. No, you idiot! I'm saying that I pity you. Why would you have any reason to pity me? I tortured you. Yeah, but that must be nothing compared to what you've been through. I mean, you've been tormented to the point of being an emotionless husk, am I right? If I were like the others, you wouldn't be alive right now. I still have the capacity for all of the emotions that humans have. I'm still getting used to it, though. Yeah, I can tell. So what are you going to do with Sleeping Beauty over there? Amy gestured towards the sleeping girl. The boy looked at the girl and replied, We'll take her with us. I passed an old motel on the way here. Once there, I'll figure out the next move. A motel? Whoa, buddy, I just met you. At least buy me dinner first. You're hungry? I brought sustenance with me. The boy reached into the plastic bag and took out an energy bar, holding it in front of Amy's face. Amy slid her bound wrists under her legs so she could grab the food. Great, thanks. She struggled with the wrapper for a few moments before giving up on using her hands and began to attack it with her teeth. After finally getting it open, she took a bite, chewed, and said, You know, for further reference, it's food, not sustenance. I don't see a difference between the two. Why? Does it matter? The boy sat down and leaned forward ever so slightly, curious as to what her answer might be. Well, yeah, I mean, saying sustenance in normal conversation makes you sound kind of like a total dork. Dork? I'm unfamiliar with that term. You know, dork, nerd, geek. Come on, don't tell me you'd never heard of these things before. No, I haven't. Amy sighed. Damn, you need to get out into the world more. I plan on doing just that. In the meantime, we need to get moving. The boy walked over to the sleeping girl and slung her onto his back, draping her arms over his shoulders and across his chest. He looked at Amy and said, Get up. I'm leaving. Follow me and try to keep up. Amy nimbly got to her feet. Okie dokie. Off to the motel. I hope they have room service. Desh led the way down the alleyway and out onto the street. He heard White pause and mumble what he suspected were last rites when they passed her slain teammates. She was a talkative one, all right. She prattled on about this and that and the entire trip, but strangely all Desh could focus on was the steady breathing of the sleeping girl on his back. Her breath hit his ear in such a way that it sent a curious sensation down his spine. He could feel the girl's warm body pressing against his, making his face feel hot, which puzzled him greatly. The breathing and the warmth combined to make a very confusing emotion. A warm, faint stirring sensation in his abdomen. He felt slightly lightheaded. Dash decided that this culmination of sensations was uncomfortable at best and tried his hardest to shut down the feeling. But no matter how hard he tried, it still remained, doggedly swirling about inside him. He considered briefly about asking White about this sensation, but decided against it, concluding that she would probably answer with a patronizing laugh and a snide comment. After 30 minutes of walking, they finally reached the Gats Motel. Desh tested the front door. Locked. He peered between the door and the door frame, locating the deadbolt locking mechanism. After spotting it, he backed up and delivered a kick to the door that might have heavily dented it had it been solid steel. However, the door, lacking in metallic quality, simply exploded open, making the deadbolt lock as effective as a mouse trying to hold back a charging rhino. White chimed in with, subtle. Locating a vacant room was simple. Locating a clean one was difficult. The second to last room Desh checked looked as if it hadn't been touched. Satisfied, he laid the sleeping girl down on the bed, led White to an empty chair, then sat down on a chair opposite her. White looked around and then said, "So, what now, asshole?" Desh looked at the girl on the bed and said, "We wait." The first thing Valentine saw when she opened her eyes was Jason Voorhees talking to a woman with green and purple hair. At first she thought she might be dreaming, then her head started to throb. Ow, she thought, definitely not a dream. Maybe it was a hallucination. Yeah, that's it, I'm hallucinating. Valentine's head throbbed again. Ugh, ugh. She groaned aloud. This seemed to catch the attention of Jason and Crazy Hair Girl. The girl spoke first. "Hey there, sleeping beauty, welcome back to Earth." Earth? Wait a minute, Valentine thought. Wasn't Earth being attacked? Something suddenly occurred to her. "Dad!" she cried. "Your old man's dead," said the woman. "Just like the rest of my squad." She glared at Jason with murderous intent. I know he's dead, thought Valentine. I saw it with my own eyes. This brought back the vivid memory of her father's broken body and his final words, telling her to run. Valentine shivered, even though the room was warm. Jason turned towards her and spoke in a voice that sent chills up and down her spine. "What's your name, girl?" His raspy voice grated at her ears and seemed to make her headache worse. She groaned again before answering weakly, "Valentine." Jason pressed on. "Valentine who?" "Brooke, listen, could you do me a favor? Could you stop talking? You're making my head hurt." Valentine's father often described her as having no tact. Jason recoiled slightly as if hurt by this remark. The crazy-haired girl laughed mirthlessly and said, "Good one, girlie. I've been meaning to say that to him for a while now. I just didn't have the guts." Jason reached into a bag by his feet and took out a bottle of aspirin and a water bottle. He held these out to Valentine and said, "I imagine you have a concussion, so I obtained these just in case. It'll help with the cerebral swelling that is the cause of your pain." Valentine gingerly took the offered items from his hands and said, "Yeah, thanks. What do I call you?" "Asshole. Desh." Both the crazy-haired girl and Desh spoke at the same time. The girl seemed surprised at the revelation of his name. "Desh? Why didn't you tell me that before?" "It's 'cause you don't like me, is that it? Damn, I can never get into your good graces, can I?" This last statement was dripping with caustic sarcasm. Without looking away from Valentine, who, after taking a few aspirin, was already feeling better, Desh replied, "It wasn't pertinent that you know my name." "Oh yeah? Then why'd you tell her?" The girl jerked her head in Valentine's direction. This curious action prompted Valentine to study this woman more closely. She had short cropped hair that was dyed 2 different colors, green on the left half and purple on the right. The colors blended seamlessly in the middle, making the whole affair seem almost natural. She had strong angular features and a thin frame. She had 1 brown eye and 1 blue eye, which gave her face an off-kilter appearance. The woman caught her staring at her and commented dryly, "Sorry, hun, but I don't swing that way." Valentine blushed at the accusation, then mumbled, "Neither do I." Desh, who had been watching curiously, said, "I don't understand what you mean by that. Could you explain it to me?" The crazy-haired girl sneered, then gave a reply that made Valentine cringe. "Yeah, it means that I'm not a muff diver." Desh simply sat there for a moment. "A what?" The lady groaned in exasperation. "My God, you're thick! You know what? Never mind. Have your girlfriend explain it to you." "And who might that be?" The lady screamed in frustration. Obviously, there was a lot of tension between the two of them. Then Valentine noticed that the lady's hands were bound. Was she a prisoner? A hostage? Then Valentine thought of something. "Hey, Desh, you wouldn't happen to be one of those weird bounty hunters, would you? You know, the kind that try to hide their identities? 'Cause that mask you're wearing is kind of creeping me out." "No, I'm not a bounty hunter. If you wanted me to take off the mask, all you had to do was ask." Desh reached up and undid the straps holding the mask on his face and let it fall to the floor. Valentine screamed.